Don't forget also, when we was watching for the opening range, and I know you had your reservations, but I pretty much said it's absorbing at the bottom now, and probably should have listened to my gut feeling more, because I still took that opening range breakdown when,
So
you know,
that tells me I don't know how to read that very well and
yeah,
understand it the way you understand it.
yeah,
Because to me, it was like this. The
it was a
price
bear,
was going up.
yeah,
The cumulative delta was going. I mean, it was spread different.
yeah,
And so Paul was explaining it in a way to me that goes, all right, if all the selling's happening, the price is still going up, that price is going to stay up much longer. It's got to collapse. It wasn't my thinking. So I was waiting for the short.
it was aggressive selling. We had lots of aggressive selling, but the
Yes.
price was just staying bottom at the bottom. And so I see that as we've got buyers there absorbing all the sellers because the price is not following through. Because if you had sellers there as well, that would have just died. It would have just plummeted and we would just sold off. But it didn't, because that aggressive selling, I'm looking at the chart now, I'm looking at it from 9:30 all the way through to 12:30, we had aggressive selling. Ron, what time do we get into that trade today?
I'll tell you in a couple seconds. We got into that trade at 12:35, 12:34.
And what time did the aggressive selling end? 12:30.
Yeah.
There you go. And that was the other thing I was looking for, waiting for, just to see a turnaround.
There's something specific that you see to say that there's aggressive selling and aggressive buying. What is that you see? That you're seeing? What are you looking at, and what are you seeing?
Do you know in the Matrix you see all these green numbers come down?
This is what I'm thinking that you're looking at.
No, it's
so like
it's really
okay.
quite
So
simple.
what I mean by what you're looking at is like, what indicator are you looking at?
Cumulative delta divergence. So cumulative delta.
Okay. Cumulative delta. That's what it's called. And what are you seeing?
I'll show you.
Like something's popping up on your screen.
Should I share my screen instead? Would that be easier?
Yeah.
Because it's easier to point to things.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah. So Ron, you're using this as well.
I go on this. There's this guy I follow on. I don't even follow him, but sometimes I go on his site. His name's Paul Betteridge, and he has a YouTube page.
He's
and I go
by
on
the
it,
way.
and he leaves it live, so I can see that chart without. I don't subscribe to it. I just watch Paul's version of it.
But you're using it in your trading.
I just talked to Paul about it because I'm trying to learn it because I don't have it.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
I can.
Yes.
So you should be able to see this nice, beautiful chart. So what I'm looking at is 9:30. It's this line here. That's the opening there. Ignore the up arrow because that's just what I got selected. 9:30.
Top is the actual price of the stock of the MES. That's the actual MES chart.
Yeah, so that's right. Yeah, sorry. So this is 2 minute. Oh, I've actually got a 3 minute at the moment. So this is MES. Usually it's a 2 minute.
I'm gonna follow along on my chart over here.
Okay, yeah.
As well.
And
MES 2 minute.
And this is a cumulative delta. Let's switch it to 2 minute as well, because I always normally have a 2 minute. I switch it to 3 minutes. I was just seeing if I can filter out some of the noise. Let's go back to 9:30, which is about there. So that's 9:30, that line. So what I saw this morning is in the live video I do every day at 9 o'clock. I always have a look at this, and I always look to see what's ranging in the pre-market. So that's going up. That's just doing that. This is doing exactly the same. So basically, it's putting in higher highs, higher highs, higher highs, higher highs, and this is doing exactly the same. And then lower highs, and that's all normal. I don't expect to see anything. So to me, if the cumulative delta, this cumulative delta is basically aggressive buy-in and aggressive selling. That's all it's showing. It's not showing volume. It's aggressive buying and aggressive selling. And then come 9:30 today, let's just zoom in. You can see we had this big red candle. You know, a lot of people crapped themselves and thought, shit, what's going on? But all I saw was this. I saw a delta straight away. So let's find the opening price. So can you see we had a big red bar? Just make it bigger. Is that easy to see if I do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, like that. That's good.
Yeah. So we had this big red bar at 9:30, and you think, oh, there's a lot of people selling there. But look what I saw. I didn't see sellers. I saw buyers. We had aggressive buying coming in. So straight away, that's a red flag anyway. So with all that selling,
That's
these were buying.
crazy because that is a massive volume bar.
I know exactly, yeah.
Like the
So
volume, the bare volume on that bar is the biggest volume of the day.
yeah. So is that right? So that's about, yeah, exactly. So now you know what you know that was mainly buyers sitting. Well, obviously these are mixed candles here. So you got top and tail. So there were sellers there as well, but it ended green, but nowhere reflected what that bar did. And then I thought, fair enough. Then we sold off a little bit, but notice the indecision. But there wasn't much indecision on the aggressive selling. So we had aggressive selling coming in. So this was matching. So I'm happy. So that's okay. They're matching each other now. And then we had a bit of a pullback. And we had a bit of a pullback. So this is matching. So the price is following, the cumulative delta is following the price. So now it gets interesting. So now we're putting in higher highs, as you can see there. But look at here, lower lows.
And this is where I was convinced we were falling off a cliff.
And
10 minutes.
exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. So to me, this is not right. And that is basically, if we were getting this selling off, we should be seeing some big red bars coming in as well. You know, or maybe not big red bars, but we should both be going down in the same direction. So now I'm seeing now I'm seeing the selling, but the buyers absorbing it because there's no follow through just here. And that's when I said to you earlier on, the buyers absorbing the sellers.
Right. And I was seeing the divergence going, well, I think the price isn't reflecting it. I think it's got to collapse because people are selling. How much longer is that going to last? And Paul gave the other side of the coin. He goes, it's going to break either way because it can't stay in divergence very long. So
no. Someone's going to win.
Yeah.
Either the buyers or the sellers. But you just need to make your mind up, or not make your mind up. Look at the evidence
and be ready. Yeah.
Yeah. So and now you can see look at that divergence now. So price is going up, selling off. We were selling. We had a little bit of a pullback, and you can see the buyers were quite keen. Notice we had a little bit of a pullback there, a little bit of aggressive buying, but the price moved up quite a lot. So that's still another clue.
That's a great point, Paul. Thank you for pointing that out.
And that's all I'm looking at, just looking for divergences. And that's really, I wouldn't call it a divergence, it's doing the right thing. And then we sold off, and rightly so, and the price followed. Okay, I'm happy with that. And then we had indecision candles or bottom tail candles, big indecision there. And then look, we just went sideways. So, you know, slightly bigger candles, and we're starting to lose volume now. And then as we started to lose volume from the selling, from the buyers, we were pushing up. We were still absorbing. So this should never happen now. So this is not right. And so something's still not quite right. And then we started going in the same direction for a bit. But you know, this is now things are starting to level up. And this is what I'm looking for now. What I'm looking for is a higher low, like that one there. And you should, well, it's not a very good example because we're putting in lower lows, and then we start seeing new pivot high. So the buyers now, we're not just moving sideways or just, you know, we were in the sideways area for some time. We're starting to break out. So it's starting to break out of that range, and we're starting to get some bigger candles coming in here. So look at the size of those candles compared to the ones we've had previously, or quite small ones. So we know we've got a lot of aggressive buy selling here on a divergence. So we know something's going to happen soon. So,
That's right where you and I came in, right there. You know?
Yeah. So this is a 5-minute RBI. And so I didn't take it, even though I saw that big aggressive selling bar and we had no more follow through. We went long when it took, I think we went long here, didn't we, when it took it out?
Right there, yeah.
And I was looking at this, and I'll be honest with you, I wasn't overly pleased there, but as soon as I saw it break this pivot, then finally for the first time today, it actually started to train this cumulative delta. Let's just zoom back out a bit. It's just starting to change its trend. And you can see quite clearly, change of trend, took out a pivot, break and retest, because I still treat cumulative delta like I do a candlestick. And we've already got long there. So we entered there, I think we did around about here.
Yeah.
They did hold for a bit, and that's my only bit. I was waiting for this. And as soon as I saw these big aggressive green bars, remember I said to you, we're now in the same direction as each other. That's in the same direction, that's into the same direction. This is moving up, this is moving up. And that was it. You know, had I not been so close to losing 2R, I was already down 2R. At this point here, I was minus 2R, so I had a little tiny bit of play money left in my account before it stopped me out. So I had to wait, and I had to wait, and I had to wait. And that's why I was waiting for the breaker structure and then a confirmation over a pivot. But I was really waiting for this to turn. You know, you could have said it turned there, but look how small the bars are. And look, we're still not really, we didn't take out a pivot there. So that's not good. So we should have taken out that pivot there if we were turning. We didn't do it there. We here went sideways. Price was getting a bit more funky. But this is it. As soon as I start seeing big bars come in, and we've already started to change direction on the price as well, then I'm looking to go in that direction. I want to try and match the same direction as the price. And that's where we got in. I think we got out. Did we get out about here, didn't we?
Yes.
And that was 4R. So that is our risk. And that was our exit.
Yes.
In fact, I didn't get out of 4R. 4R was just very slightly above it. And I got out here just as it pulled back. So I wasn't going to let give back any profit.
Yeah, I had 2 contracts. I got one out before the 50 mark and one at 57. Yeah. So.
All right.
And that's the divergence.
So this is part of your checklist. This is part of your checklist. You have to have this aligned every trade, or?
I do have to. For me, if I'm looking for a reversal or a bounce, cumulative delta is one of those things. I'm looking for divergences like the absorption, or I'm looking for exhaustion. So if we see it in the opposite direction, we're looking to see whether we have continuation, then I would probably see price going sideways, and I'll probably be looking at cumulative delta just pushing up, and then suddenly we have a spike, a big volume burst through, and then the cumulative delta will follow through as well. So, and I see these bars getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I see it like a elastic band. You keep winding it and winding it and winding it, suddenly it's going to snap. So, and that's the 2 keys. That's what I'm looking for trend continuation or reversals, and absorption.
So to add to that, when you in the new system of ORB, you're identifying what kind of a day it is. And he and I had already identified that it was probably a trending day. Not a trending day, a range day. And
not initially when we first looked at them.
By this point, right. Yeah. It was probably about 20 25, 30 minutes before we got in, maybe 40 minutes, we were like, this is a range day.
So that's
And,
what we, because as soon as I saw the gap up and it's on the daily and the daily was pushing up, you know, it's been in a trend almost since the beginning of April until last week when it went sideways for a bit, and then we saw it gap up. And look, here we go. Let me just open up my daily. You're going to love this. And this just confirms exactly. So this is the daily chart. What do we have on Friday? A little tiny narrow range inside day. And do you remember what it says about the inside days here?
Yes, it says an inside day most of the time is followed by a trending day.
Yeah. So in this Crable's research found an immediate continuation trends to follow an inside day in the direction of the prior trend. So prior trend, inside day, an immediate trend in that direction. And his research, Crable, whatever, it does give all the references to all the research at the bottom as well.
Okay.